Okay, so let's start with the new things. Okay, so please go to the next page. So now let's say pretend you all change everything into APQ correctly. Okay, so the form looks like this, right? You have A at the front, right? Q at the back, P is the middle number. Okay, so what those does, right? It will transform the function, transform the graph. Transform means it will change the shape. Okay, either it makes it bigger or smaller, right? Or make it flip it upside down, or it can move it around, right? To the left, to the right, up and down, okay? So together it's called transformation. It includes three things: reflection, stretch, and translation. Together is transformation. So you can see the first letter, right? You have the R, S, and T, right? They are in order. Okay, so that way it's pretty easy to remember, just RST. So we'll look at each kind of transformation together. Okay, we'll start with the basic. Basic means there's no reflection at all, right? No RST at all. Okay, we'll start with checking their APQ. Okay, so A, we'll write APQ on the side. Okay, you compare with the form on the top and then write down the value of APQ, okay? So raise your hand if you think you got the APQ. And even if you think you don't know, okay, you can also raise your hand, okay? So I know we can go on. Okay, let's check. Harry, what's the A value for A?
You said even if we don't know, we can raise our hand.
Yeah. So you don't know what the A is?
No.
Okay, so to find the A, you just find the number before the square, right? So what number do you see before the x squared?
Why?
What number do you see before the x squared? Do you see any number in front?
Oh, no. So is it
Nothing, right?
1?
Yeah, so it'll be 1, invisible 1, okay? So that's the value for A. Okay, and Ivy, what do you think the P is? Any guess?
I don't know.
Okay, P is always with the X, right? X minus something. But then in this one, it only has X, right? There's no X minus something. So what do you think the P is?
Is it 0?
Yeah, so it'll be 0, right? Because like X minus 0, then that's the same as just X, right? If you take away nothing, it's just the same thing, right? 7 minus 0, same as just 7, okay? And then Q is whatever that goes after the square. So what do you think the Q is, Jiawen?
0?
Yeah, also 0, okay? So that's why this one, I call it a basic function. It doesn't have anything that's special to it, right? It doesn't have anything adding, anything subtract, right? P and Q are both 0, okay? So it's the before anything happens, the original graph, okay? The simplest one. So this one is still in standard form, except it's in a very simple standard form. Okay, so take a look. If I put A as 1, okay, look at the top, right? I have A as 1, and then P is 0, right? And Q is also 0. Now, because it's 0, so I can make it invisible, right? I can ignore the minus 0, you can see that if you simplify it, it just become the x squared. Make sense, right? So even though it doesn't look like standard form, but it is. It's just because the P and Q are 0, okay? So now we know the values of APQ. Let's graph it, okay? This is our first graph of our quadratic function. So I'm gonna choose some negative points and some positive points. So -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Okay, so we can see points on the left side and right side. Now to get a y value, you will plug it into the function we want to graph, okay? The yellow highlighted. So it tells you that to get a y, you need to take the x and then square, okay? So for example, the first one, it will be y equals to x squared, right? So remember this one has a brackets, right? So everything in the brackets times itself. So it should give you 4. Okay, so please complete the table and raise your hand, okay? Raise your hand if you finish the table. Okay, Angela, can you tell us your y values?
All 5 of them?
Yep.
4, 1, 0, 1, 4.
Okay, good. So we'll follow the table and graph it out, okay? So we have -2, 4, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 4. Okay, and then we just connect the points. You can see that they are not straight line, right? It's not a linear function. Remember we mentioned about it looks like a satellite, right? This one is a very narrow satellite, right? Okay, so this one, we have 2 arms, right? 2 lines going upwards, right? Kind of like an opening, right? Think about the satellite as opening upwards, right? So this one, we call it open up, okay? This graph opens up. And then the name for this graph is called the parabola. Opens up, okay? You can write on the side. Okay, this parabola opens up. You can either call this a quadratic function or you can call it the parabola. And then there's another term here that's important, the lowest point. Okay, this point is called the vertex. Okay, so this one has a vertex at 0, 0. Okay, those are very important information. So this one is the basic one. It doesn't have any change to the A value, right? The simple A value, P and Q, they are not there, okay? So let's look at the next question on the right side. Right side, we're gonna do some change to the A now, okay? So A, the value for A, instead of 1, we have -1, okay? And then looks like the P and Q are still both 0, right? There's no add and subtract involved. So let me write out the x value again. I'll let you complete the table like before. So this time to do the y value, right? Because there's a -1. You got to follow the order of operation, right? Y equals to -x squared, right? So you have to do the exponent first, right? And then the answer times -1. Okay, so I'll let you complete the table all by yourself and raise your hand when you're done. square the x, and then times -1, okay? Remember to raise your hand if you finish the table. And you can continue work on the graph, okay? Plot the points out. Okay, I think by now you should have finished. Chris, any questions? Okay, Chris, can you tell us your table?
For -2,
Yeah,
it's -4.
go on.
For -1, it's -1.
Yeah.
For 0, it's 0.
Mm-hmm.
For 1, it's -1.
Good.
And for 2 is -2. I mean,
Yeah.
-4.
Yeah, -4, yes. Okay. So -2, -4, let's plot them out. Okay. Does anyone have question about the table? Okay. So -2, -4 will go down here, right? -1, -1, right? And then 0, 0, 1, -1. Okay. So instead of open up, right, it will have an open down graph. So now you can see the value of A, right? What it controls, right? It can affect the opening up or opening down. A positive, open up. A negative, it will open down. Okay, so that's our first rule for what A controls. Okay, so we can write this down now. Okay, you can say this one, because this one has A negative, right? You can say reflect, right? Because this one is a reflection, right? Over the x-axis, right? X-axis is this one, right? The blue line, right? X-axis. So you can imagine yourself standing on the shore of a lake, right? On the side of the lake. And then you look at the reflection, right? You're standing here, right? And then your reflection in the lake will look like this. Okay, so this is like a reflection of the basic one, right? And because it's negative, right? A is negative, so it will open down, right? The graph opens down. Okay? If you don't have any question here, can you raise your hand up to now, so far? Okay, raise your hand if you are okay with everything so far. Braden, any questions?
No.
Okay, please raise your hand. Ivy, how about you? Ivy, do you have questions? Can you hear me? Ivy, are you there? Ivy, looks like she's not here. Can you hear me, Ivy? Or I have to call you? Okay, I don't know what happened. Oh, I think she just logged off. Hmm? Sometimes the connection, okay? Ivy, can you hear me now? Yeah? Okay, okay. So let's have a break now, okay? So after the break, we'll start on type 2, okay? Today, I hope to finish this page in the next page, okay? Before you go. So I'll see you at 2:45, all right? See you soon. And if you have questions, you can ask me during the break. And Harry, please hand in the homework, okay?